The world faces a choice of peace or war as he watched a huge parade of Chinese military might flanked by Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. It marks the first time the three leaders have been seen together. President Xi said that humanity was again faced with a choice of peace or war, and that common security could only be safeguarded when nations across the world treat each other as equals. Donald Trump has reacted to the meeting on social media, accusing the three presidents of conspiring against the US. The massive military parade commemorates 80 years since the formal surrender of the Japanese at the end of the Second World War. President Xi said his country is unstoppable and will never be intimidated by bullies as he unveiled China's arsenal of weapons, including nuclear missiles with global reach. Well, let's go live then to Beijing and my colleague Steve Lai, who's been covering these events. Steve, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sally. It's been a real show of military might here in Beijing. We heard the sound of jets overhead where we are as the parade showcased China's military capabilities on land, in the air and at sea as well. Among the notable new weaponry we've seen are laser weapons, nuclear ballistic missiles and giant underwater drones. China has also been investing in artificial intelligence and autonomous weapons. One example is the AJX-002. It's a giant 60-foot underwater nuclear-capable drone. China's nuclear arsenal number in the hundreds of missiles. It still lags far behind those of Russia and the US, but it is rapidly increasing in size, and that is perhaps the point to keep in mind. Now, as you've mentioned, President Xi was joined by 26 heads of state at this military showcase, including Russia's President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as well. This is the first time Xi, Putin and Kim have met all together, and for more on the significance of that, let's go first to Stephen McDonald. He's in Beijing for us. Stephen, this event almost has even more significance on it because of the presence of Russia's leader Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, as well as other world leaders.
Yes, I mean, it's very interesting. There they are up on the podium, standing next to one another, watching this vast military parade. And it was interesting what you mentioned about Xi Jinping's comments, like sort of cryptic, speaking about the choices the world was facing now, whether to go down the road of war or peace. I mean, he didn't say which theatre of war he might be speaking about. Is he referring to existing conflicts or the possibility of a much worse, broader conflict from breaking out? I mean, he spoke about how China, in defeating Japan in World War II, had emerged as a much stronger country that feared nobody. And I suppose the message is, don't try to threaten us, because, you know, you can see all that weaponry coming through. But not only that, there he is with his allies, Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and others, the leaders of Belarus, Pakistan, Iran, and more than 20 other leaders, including one NATO member, Slovakia, represented. Massive symbolism there today. But of course, in China, according to some ordinary people, it is a funny old image to be showing. I mean, China wants to be portraying itself as a modern, sophisticated country. Does this look like it's stuck in another era with these Cold War-style mass military parades? Naturally, though, to others, full of national pride, they might think, look how strong we've become. Look at all that gear. Who can possibly touch us? So I guess it just depends what perspective you're coming at it from.
Yeah, that's right. And we do know that President Xi Jinping is expected to make another address. So if that does happen, we will cut to those images and hear what he has to say. But as you mentioned, I wouldn't say mixed messages, but he's been speaking very much about sort of the strength of China and playing up how strong it is in its place in the world, and that it isn't in a position, or it doesn't have any desire to be bullied, and wants to be treated as an equal in the eyes of the United States and other key leading players.
Yeah, and I mean, in a funny way, you know, part of the narrative of the Communist Party, apart from saying we took on Japan in World War II, it goes back further than that, that the imperial powers of Europe were pushing us around. Now we've arrived, this is our time, and we're not going to cop it anymore type thing. I mean, the funny thing is that China has long since past being a country that would be pushed around by others. It's in some ways strange that they keep sort of going on about this sort of thing. No one, as if anyone forgot, oh, gee, we thought we could push you around. Now we've seen that military parade, we won't. And yet, yeah, it does really ram at home when you see all that gear. I mean, the latest drones, which are going to be the future of naval warfare, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, the aircraft, the tens of thousands of goose-stepping soldiers moving past Tiananmen Square. Yeah, you're left in no doubt that China is a force to be reckoned with. But then again, I mean, who wouldn't know that? How could you possibly not? You'd have to have had your head in the sand not to realise that China has reached this point already.
Yeah, we'll speak to Jean in just a bit about North Korea's presence here with Kim Jong-un. But just a quick word on President Vladimir Putin being here from Russia. That war's still ongoing in Ukraine. In fact, there were air raid sirens going off in Ukraine